Okay, we have the first set of patch notes that has been uploaded to Texas Chainsaw Massacre the game. If you are on PC, you will probably feel this patch more than any other gaming platform. TCM patch note is now live, and there was some interesting decisions made other than what everybody thought should have been changed in the game. There were a few changes to the game that was interesting, and I think this was due to what was decided with the PC platform. So let's go over 2 patch notes that I think is a huge change to the game and will affect the victim side more than the family side. I am happy to see that the developers are working on the game to make it a better experience for all the gamers. Again, I wanted to point out 2 patch notes that will affect the game. The first patch I want to talk about is that lobbies now can start with 6 players instead of 7. Now the family will still be a team of 3 and Leatherface will still be required to play the game. But now there's only 3 victims required to start the match. I have a theory on this, which I will get to in a minute. Since there is only 3 victims required to start the match, I think this will make playing the game a bit more challenging. There is no wildcard player that's flying under the radar while you're being distracted. And this will put more responsibility on players contributing to the escape off the family property. In my opinion, playing the victim just became that much more challenging. The numbers game is what gave the victim a little more advantage, if you know what I'm saying, which is fair. But once you are down to 2 victims early in the match, escaping nearly becomes impossible. Because I have seen in matches where once 2 victims are alive and they barely did anything, they can barely get around the map without being seen. The numbers game is what gave the victim a little more advantage, which is fair. But once you are down to 2 victims, now the way things are set up, if 1 victim died early into the match, it would be interesting on how much that would change the outcome for gamers playing mostly as the victims, where they start seeing more losses. Now, for my opinion, why 6 players is need to start a match instead of 7 is what I'm about to get into now. The most impactful patch note that was on there, in my opinion, was the crossplay for PC. It's temporary until they enhance their anti-cheat software. It can definitely have an impact on how fast lobbies are put together, which is why I think they decided to start lobbies with only 6 players instead of 7, in order to cut down the wait time for console players and PC players, since PC can only play with PC players, if that makes sense. I am definitely interested to see how this plays out for the time being among PC players. With crossplay being disabled for that group of players, could we see a smoother game being ran with less bugs and cheaters? Not saying all PC players cheat, let's get that corrected. The big question is when crossplay comes back though, will they still allow for 6-player lobbies to be formed? Because again, the numbers game is what helps the victim succeed in most games or for the average player. If you play the victim more than a family member, then let me know in the chat if your win percentage changed due to the lack of the 4th victim. It seems that they did not mess with the option, but the one disappointing thing that I did not read about is the option to edit your player while you're waiting for a lobby to start, which seems like an obvious thing to fix. But hey, what do I know? We will still have to wait around and do nothing, but at least 6 players will make the time go by a little faster in the character selection screen, I hope. Remember to click on one of these videos to stay in Mr. Unleashed world.